Hello, and happy 8th day of Christmas. This is Arnold Mangioli for Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing on the 8th day of Christmas, January 2nd, 2021. I'm just introducing you to the door of my home because we set it up and no one's visited this Christmas, only on Zoom. So it's all covered in red paper and it says, "It came somehow or other, it came just the same." And it's a whole Dr. Seuss theme. And somewhere in there, if you can see it, there's Cindy Lou Who and lots of Dr. Seussian baubles on a big wreath under which is the rest of the Dr. Seuss story all the way to the end. So that's where we're beginning. We are still celebrating. I'm coming inside now and closing the door. And we are celebrating this 8th day of Christmas as we navigate down the hallway into Christmas. And begin to talk about these days. That was totally unrehearsed. And I can't resist that part. So yes, today is the 8th day of Christmas. Yesterday was New Year's Day, the 7th day of Christmas, also the 7th day of Kwanzaa, celebrating and reflecting on day 7, Imani, which is faith. That is the profound belief and commitment to all that is of value, family, culture, community, people. The day before that was New Year's Eve, also the Scottish holiday of Hogmanay. And this month's holidays have included Bodhi Day on December 8th, which celebrates the day the Buddha is believed to have experienced enlightenment. Maulid on December 1st, celebrating the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. Christmas, of course, celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. Hanukkah, the festival of light. Solstice was celebrated on the first day of winter, December 21st. And Human Light, I just learned about this one. It's a relatively new holiday, just in the past 20 years. It's called Human Light, celebrated on December 23rd, only around since 2001, and designed to celebrate the positive human values of reason, compassion, humility, and hope. And when is Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing Day? Every day is Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing Day. Silly. Many years ago, I was involved in a parish church in Greenwich Village, and they ran a shelter for the homeless. And it came to me, what a great way to spend New Year's Eve if I volunteered to work with the homeless that night. And they said to me, "Arnold, we have so many people who volunteer for New Year's Eve. We have tons of people who want that slot. Nobody wants Christmas Eve." And I thought that was so interesting because in our culture, such a big thing is made of New Year's Eve, but so many people are looking for ways to do something more meaningful or more fulfilling. And Christmas Eve, people kind of find their connection a little more naturally. Perhaps for some people it's different. As I've said in earlier videos, you know, you're welcome to celebrate, and whatever the thing you celebrate, it's welcome here. Christmas, for me, certainly it's a season. It's not a day. It's a state of mind. It's a grand arc of unbridled joy. It's a time for unabashed kindness and bold-faced love. It's a season to focus on spiritual growth and joy. I love how it's all arranged. And to me, it doesn't seem to be the least bit random if you look at the calendar. So after a season of summer fun, we celebrate Labor Day and we rejoice in our work. Certainly for those of us in the arts and in the theater, we do rejoice in our work, and some of the sadness that we feel has been that for many of us, our work has not been able to be done in the forms that we are used to. So after Labor Day, we get back to work in a serious day for the new season. Certainly for all of us in theater, in Broadway theater, it's the new season, right, after Labor Day. And I mean, technically it starts right in June after the Tony announcement, but you know, the new season really gets underway after Labor Day, the new semester for those in school or studying. And then as the days grow shorter, there's Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. Then we stop and play and we dress up for Halloween, which is the eve of All Saints' Day on November 1st, which reminds us to commune with all heavenly bodies. And then my favorite of the three, All Souls' Day on November 2nd, which I always say that celebrates the regular schmoes like me who get get to go to heaven too, because we all go to heaven, even people we don't like, except that we like them then. I don't know. Sister Cadgerton in second grade explained that much better than I could. But next comes Election Day, right after that, on the first Tuesday in November. And that gives us a voice, at least in the United States, in this country. And this past Election Day, we lifted our voices and we made a joyful noise. On November 11th, we paused to honor our Veterans Day. Veterans Day in the US, Remembrance Day in Canada, same idea, giving thanks to the soldiers who serve our country and protect our freedom. All of this momentum leads us into the season of giving thanks. I guess you could say that's a celebration of the grateful, just like grateful, ready, open, willing. At least we're getting started there, right? And as we celebrate Giving Thanks Day on the fourth Thursday of November here in America, being a dual citizen, I get to celebrate the Canadian Thanksgiving as well, which happens on the US Columbus Day in October. There is so much to be grateful for. There is so much to be grateful for, ready for, open for, and willing for. Willing to do, willing to receive, willing to be present for, willing to be grateful for. And from there, we move into Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights, beginning the evening of Thursday, December 10th, and this year, ending the Friday of December 18th, which blended beautifully into solstice, coming the very next few days on December 21st, solstice or Yule, which is the shortest daylight and longest night of the year, which launches a trajectory of the days getting continually brighter. Thenceforth, we're already into that cycle, celebrating light and the rebirth of the sun. Soon we're at Christmas Eve, December 24th, which leads into Christmas Day, which was Friday, December 25th this year, and Kwanzaa, honoring the core principles of African heritage, began Saturday, December 26th, and just ended yesterday, January 1st. January 1st, of course, begins New Year, and today is still only the 8th day of Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas take us to January 6th, and Little Christmas, or Three Kings Day. Hopefully, we will be celebrating the results of the Georgia Senate runoff on January 5th. Oh, to see Mitch McConnell gone, what an amazing thing that would be for our country. Whatever political side, whatever area of the spectrum politically you're on, Mitch McConnell going away would be a good thing for everybody. And 2 weeks after Wednesday, January 6th, on Wednesday, January 20th, we celebrate progressive change and everything that is good about living in a free country. Can you feel how perfect your life is when you look at how it goes from summer fun through gratitude and expressing yourself, expressing your voice, to festivals of lights, to things continually getting brighter, to the celebration of Christmas and unbridled joy and kindness and giving and love? It's just such a beautiful arc. You know, there's a quote that's attributed to Buddha that says, when you realize how perfect everything is, you will literally tilt your head back and laugh at the sky. So let's begin 2021 in a state of gratitude, readiness, openness, willingness. I will talk more about that in a coming video, but for today, don't worry about New Year's resolutions. Take that pressure off. You know, I think sometimes we give ourselves a strict deadline of January 1st, I will start that diet. I will start meditating. I will start exercising. I will start really working on my monologues or my songs or doing my creative work. And we give ourselves all kinds of stringent deadlines. And part of the reason those mostly don't work for most of us is because we're in the middle of a holiday and no one's inner self, no one's inner child wants to be told it's time to get very serious in the middle of the most festive holiday celebration of the year. So celebrate all 12 days of Christmas. Take it through January 6th. And then in the days after that, as the decorations come down and things begin to close up in various ways and get put away, that's the time to start, not at a particular date, but somewhere in there, start thinking about what will bring you joy in the coming year, how to focus on it. We could start thinking about that right now, how to focus on that, how to give ourselves more of that. The starting place to me is always what we're grateful for. It's always about gratitude and being grateful for all that we have, rather than focusing on what we want, what we don't have. Let's just start in a place of gratitude and see how wonderful our lives are, because they are. we'll finish celebrating the 12 days of Christmas, and we will get on with the new year. Another thing that happens is people tend to, I talked about this in the last video, people tend to get a little bit like, oh, this last year was really stank, and I hope we get to the new year right away, and I want to get to the new year because, this last year was horrible. And they say that about so many years, every year. And I find that that is not my experience. For example, if I think about 2020, the first thing I think about is all of us hanging out windows and banging pots and pans and clanging bells and tooting horns and applauding and celebrating the rescue workers, the first responders, the people in the medical profession who have been dealing with the COVID crisis. And unfortunately, if you look at the numbers now, we are dealing with it again at peak numbers. But the sounds of community, of people who so wanted to do something to acknowledge these people, to let them know of our gratitude, just leaning out the windows and shouting and applauding and cheering and banging. I also think about in November when the election results finally came in on Saturday, November 7th, 4 days after Election Day, waiting for one candidate or another to get to 270 votes. Somebody said something about, well, with all of this stress eating, I'm going to be 270 before either of the candidates. But when it finally was acknowledged that Joe Biden won, and again, whatever area of the political spectrum in which you situate yourself, Donald Trump going away is a very good thing for this country and for the world, and certainly for all of us in the arts. And the way we knew by how the noise spontaneously generated all throughout the New York City streets, people cheering and honking horns and leaning out windows and yipping. It was just the most exciting thing to feel a part of, the people reclaiming the soul of the country. So beautiful. The Black Lives Matter movement and all of the progress it made, something that's been sort of there, but not really coming into its own, finally coming into its own in 2020. So many beautiful things happened. People coming closer together because of the COVID crisis. Many terrible things happened too. I acknowledge that. I don't mean in any way to diminish anyone's feelings about those of us who've lost loved ones. Certainly, we, the theater, lost members of our community, Mark Blum and Nick Cordero and Terrence McNally, and so many others more recently. Dawn Wells recently was lost to COVID. So this is a very real and terrible and dangerous thing. I think we're up to, I think I read today that was 300,000 deaths in the U.S. so far. It's a very intense thing, and we're still going through it. We're at a new peak of it. But the point is that there are flecks of gold in all of this. There are beautiful, beautiful moments in all of this. This is a beautiful, perfect life that we are living, and we're on a perfect timeline. And today in the timeline is the 8th day of Christmas. It is a time for celebration. It is a time for unbridled joy and love, for giving and for kindness, and for ways to take care of ourselves and one another. Happy New Year. Happy 8th day of Christmas. And I will pop in and see you again before the festivities end. This is Arnold Mangioli for Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing. Happy New Year.